Thank you to Dyad for sponsoring this video. Dyad reached out to me about their new theme feature. That's one of the most impressive and well-implemented design features into a vibe coding app, and I'm really excited to show you exactly how it works. So there are some things that you need to know to get this right. So the feature that you need to know about on Dyad is the new theme feature. This is what's going to allow you to either upload an image or just give a website URL, and Dyad is going to create a theme so that future apps that you create are inspired by this custom theme. I'm going to show you exactly how it works, and you're going to see how powerful this is. So all I've done is enter in the theme name, ChatGPT style theme. I've uploaded an image of the ChatGPT homepage, and for this demo, I'm not even going to add a description or keywords to show you how powerful this is. In generation mode, I'm going to say inspired. I don't want it to be a pure copy of ChatGPT. I want this theme to be inspired by ChatGPT's design. And then for the model selection, you can choose the model. I'm going to go with Gemini 3 Pro because Dyad says that's the most capable in terms of this specific task. And we're going to generate the theme prompt. So in the background, what this is doing is taking that screenshot, putting it through Gemini 3 Pro to create a prompt that's going to be passed through when we generate apps using Dyad. So it's going to give it instructions of how to emulate that design that we just uploaded. So in a second, we're going to have our prompt. So here it is, and you can see it's quite long, and it put this together completely on its own. And we can go ahead and save this theme, so ChatGPT style theme. And next, I'm going to show you how you can use this theme in an actual app. And then later on in the video, we're going to upload an even more complicated theme that takes this to the next level. So here we are on the homepage of Dyad. All you have to do is click that plus button on the bottom, go to themes, and we are going to attach the ChatGPT theme. So now that is attached here. We have a few different options. First, you're going to choose basically the agent that's going to be building. Agent V2 is the new agent by Dyad, which is better at bigger tasks and debugging. We have a planning agent, so it's going to plan out what we're going to do before actually building it. Then we have build. I would generally suggest agent V2 over build because it's the new and better agent. And then ask is just asking questions about your app. So it's nice to have that feature as well. And then build with MCP. It's like build, but it also can use tools like MCP to generate code. So in this case, we're just going to start with agent V2. And in a second, we're going to send off the prompt so we can actually see what Dyad is able to generate with that theme. But I do think it's helpful to understand a little bit more about Dyad. So something I really like about Dyad is not only that it's open source, but that you have full control over the models that it's running. So there's some AI app builders where you don't have control over this. It's just going to use whatever the company running it wants to. And sometimes that can lead to potentially maybe them using less powerful models to maybe make more money or make sure that their app is profitable. But here, because you are in full control, you can choose what models to use. And that even includes local models. With Dyad Pro, which I'm currently on, you have access to all of these models and you have some budget every month to use whichever model you want. And then we can also choose from a few automatic options, which I really like. We have Auto, Turbo Pro, and Super Value Pro. I like Super Value Pro because it's basically going to let Dyad choose the best model for the task, but also be budget conscious. And this is going to save your budget as much as possible. If you want to just have the most powerful model at all times, I would choose 5.2 from OpenAI or Opus 4.5. So I'm sending it off and we're going to see what we're going to get. So it generated our first version. It's a really simple app, but I think this gets the message across of the design and how it's able to match the theme. And right off the bat, this looks really nice. Like otherwise, if we didn't do this, I think it would maybe look very AI generated. Like this doesn't necessarily look like it was generated with AI. It just has a really clean, modern look and very similar to ChatGPT with like the light grays and rounded buttons and everything kind of looks like ChatGPT, even these little delete hover effect. So this kind of shows you just the design power. And we're going to get into a little more of what Dyad is capable of later. Right now, we're going to focus mostly on the design. To show you this and really demonstrate it, I'm going to do the exact same prompt, but with a Claude style. So we did ChatGPT. I also have a Claude style that I generated previously. So let's do that really quick. So we'll go back to the home screen. I'm going to paste this in. Everything's going to be the same initial prompt, same model, but I'm going to switch to the Claude style that I created previously. So here we are with the Claude style, and you can see totally different. And this looks like Claude. The other one looks like ChatGPT. I actually like the Claude better than ChatGPT for the food journal. The other thing, just kind of interesting, is that with the Claude version in the Claude theme, it added a little bit more, like some example meals and a little bit more of like a tracker on the top. So kind of interesting that it did that. I think the pop-up looks nicer. That would need to be fixed, the X button. But overall, just cool to see how with these different themes in the same prompt, you can really get different designs. And these designs, I think, don't look AI generated. They look really good as themes. So you could do this with anything that you want and really get creative about the theme that you're going to put into Dyad. So now let's build onto this a little bit more. You're going to want to stick around to see the final result and see what Dyad is capable of. And I think you're going to be impressed by how much you can build just with Dyad. So I want to add AI functionality so I can upload an image of the food to log and not have to manually add it, because I think manually adding is just not going to cut it in today's landscape of apps where you can upload images and use AI to make it a lot easier. So it's telling me I just need to add the OpenAI key to the .env file. So I asked it to create that env file for me. So the env file is here, but we do have to add our OpenAI key so we can access the API to basically take in that image and then get the output that we need. So I added it. So let's see if I can add the food and upload an image, and hopefully it works. So I uploaded an image, I got an error. What's really cool is Dyad automatically read the logs. It can see the error in the logs. It can see that OpenAI returned a 400 errors. This alone is very well done. The fact that it knew to read the logs, and this is something that just in terms of debugging can be a huge pain with these types of vibe coding apps. So the fact that it was able to do that is really cool. So after just a little bit of back and forth, it is working correctly with OpenAI. The issue was that it was successfully getting a response from OpenAI, but it wasn't parsing it correctly. So now it worked. We uploaded the sushi roll. It added that title, the category, and meal type, lunch, which I think it's getting from the time of day, potentially. Right now it's lunchtime. I'm actually not 100% sure how it did that, but it did work successfully because it's around noon. And let me add that entry, and now I'll update it. I really like that, and I really like how Dyad handled adding that functionality. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to deploy the app so you can see how to go from idea to deployment on the internet with Dyad. And then after that, we're going to do one more theme and really take things to the next level with something a little bit more complicated. So to publish and deploy with Dyad, you just go to publish. You have to connect to GitHub so you can deploy your code to GitHub, because Dyad runs locally on your computer. So all the code is on my computer right now and it's not in the cloud. So first we have to get it in the cloud, and then we'll be able to deploy it to Vercel. So I've connected to GitHub. We're going to create a new repository. I can say this is food tracker Dyad in the branch main, and we're going to create the repository. So this is creating the repository in GitHub. Now we have our code in GitHub, which is also really nice because as we make changes in the future in Dyad, we'll be able to push those updates to GitHub. So now you can see we have the option to publish our app by deploying it to Vercel. They make it really easy to do. You just have to create a token. So token name, scope, and expiration. So we just create a token, and then we're going to paste it in here and save that access token. And now we can create a new project. We'll name this food tracker Dyad also, and we're going to create the project. And then we can see here, it's deploying it. And also in the future, when we make changes to GitHub, we can deploy those updates to Vercel. So you can keep building in Dyad, and you can test locally as well before actually pushing it to Vercel and checking it live. But here we can see it's initializing. And in a minute, we should be able to actually go to our app. So here we are. The app is live, food tracker Dyad Vercel.app. Now, we haven't integrated a database yet, so the data is not going to be persistent across sessions. We can definitely do that. Dyad does make that easy to do by integrating Supabase. And to do that, you could just go to your app settings here in Dyad and connect Supabase so that we can actually add that backend. So user authentication, users can sign in, and we'd have persistent database. So that's definitely possible to do. But with this demo, we just deployed it before adding Supabase. But just to show you that it works, let's go ahead and test it out. So here it's a mixed grilled platter, about 800 calories. I think that actually seems right for that item. And then it is lunch, and we're going to add that entry, and it is saved. So we could easily add, again, user authentication. So users could save this to their own actual account, and we could add on more features as well. But this is live on the internet. Anyone could access it. Food-tracker-dyad.vercel.app, and you can also customize that domain inside of Vercel. There's one more really important thing you should know about Dyad, and that is the security scan. So you just go to the security review page and click Run Security Review. This is really important to do before actually getting your app out into the wild and having other people use it. I think there's something we're going to find in this scan. So we can see on the left side, it is looking through every single file in the code base. And this is something that I'm really excited about because a lot of people talk about how, Vibe coded apps aren't secure. And that can be true if you're not careful, if you don't run security reviews and think about things step by step. So here we can see Dyad is really thoroughly looking through the entire code base, and we're going to find out what about our app isn't secure and how we can make it secure before publishing it. So here we have our security review. I really like how Dyad has a nice UI around this, so you can see the level of the security vulnerability and then a button to just fix the issue. So the two most important issues that we would need to solve is one, the OpenAI API key exposing client-side bundle. This is really common and something you should be aware of. If you are building an AI app or vibe coding an app and you don't have a backend database, then it's just going to run the AI function in the browser. And what that means is that if someone knows what they're doing, they can open dev tools and actually get the OpenAI API key. And then the next one, missing git ignore file. So again, this is if you have API keys in an env file, it basically will upload to your GitHub, which isn't secure and means that it's potentially exposed in the Git history. So again, this would be another pretty easy fix. For the OpenAI API key exposed in client-side bundle, I can click Fix Issue and see what it says. I think the best way to do this would be to actually, so yeah, it's saying build a backend basically, and building a backend proxy. I'm going to pause it. Another really easy way that we could do to solve this is actually connect to Supabase. So like I was talking before about how to actually connect to Supabase, and then run an edge function. So you could ask Dyad to set that up for you. So these are things that you just need to be aware of, especially when you're using API keys. And this is something that Dyad handles really well with the security scan so that you can be aware of any potential issues that there are. And then there are some other, high vulnerabilities, rate limiting, sensitive data log to console, medium, and low. So these are all really helpful, but the critical ones we would definitely want to solve before going live. So I promised you we would do one more theme. This one's going to be a Reddit theme, and I went to old.reddit.com. I wanted the old school Reddit theme. I took a screenshot. And I want to see what this looks like with a Reddit theme on the same type of app. So in a second, we're going to get our theme. And then what I'm going to do is do the same initial prompt with the Reddit theme, and we can see what Dyad is able to create. And this is also going to show you just how versatile this is and hopefully get you thinking about how you could use this theme feature yourself and build apps that don't look AI designed and have a real kind of design style added to it. Okay, so I'm going to save this theme. Let's go back to our chat, and just so we have a perfect experiment, I'm going to take the exact same prompt that we did before. Everything is going to be the exact same except the theme. So I'm going to send that off, and let's see what theme we get. And here we have our design of this version of the food tracker, very different from the other two. And hopefully this just gives you a sense of how the theme can affect the output with Dyad and how much control you have over it by creating themes inspired by different websites. So you don't have to have any design background. You just have to know what you want and then create the theme based on that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click the link in the description to try out Dyad for yourself. Try out this theme feature. Try building a full stack app, deploying it, and let me know what you think in the comments of Dyad and if this is something you could see yourself trying. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more free content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.